humid weather outside. This is like happening for weeks now, but then again, we're coming into the summer months, starting with June, and it is slow to believe, but now it is time for another round of my Blu-ray collections that I've been starting to collect. And we are once again on the Criterion Collection. And if you have seen my last video I did, I mentioned that I would be start watching the movies that were nominated for the Oscars that are in the Criterion Collection, and going like a little bit of backwards, specifically throughout the 2010 decade. And I have seen pretty much all those that were nominated for the Oscars of this past decade, except for one, because I hadn't had the time to actually watch it. But I had kind of decided to purchase these anyway, and unlike the first time when it took a while for my first set to actually come, because obviously the Grand Budapest Hotel was a new one, this one was pretty easy, because I bought this past weekend, and they came in to my house on Wednesday. So, with that being said, let's just kick this right off with the 3 Blu-rays I decided to purchase from the Criterion Collection for the second time. And this time, it will be a legit unboxing. So, I'm going to start this up with a very interesting Blu-ray I have decided to get, because this was actually nominated for, of course, an Oscar. But this is actually a movie that is kind of like a form of art through the fields of a special theater dance group. And I'm talking about Spy Number 644 from 2011, Pina. This is the German documentary that was directed by Wim Wenders that was nominated for Best Documentary Feature of 2011, which lost Undefeated. And this movie is basically from the, I'm looking this up, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It's kind of like a contemporary dance choreography documentary with multiples of language in here. You got, of course, the main one being German, English, French, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, Slovenia, Korean, and Spanish. And of course, this theater group is all led by the late Pina, who unfortunately died unexpectedly, when preparations for this was about to begin. The dancers of the Tense Theater War Portolo, that's the group Pina has, and this movie was named after it, because I think then I can't really know much, because obviously this is being sealed. But when I saw this, it really kind of blew my mind that this was a documentary that was in a form of art. It's kind of like Walt Disney's Fantasia, where they took animation in a form of art. Wim Wenders took this as a documentary in a form of art. And this was, of course, also Germany's submission for Best International Feature, but it did make it on the short list when I heard, but that did not happen. It didn't get the double nomination. Like, no of them had got a double nomination in, either for documentary, international, or animated until, of course, Honeyland did it. And now, this Blu-ray actually is very unique, because not also that Pina is, of course, a movie, of course, but it's also a 3D movie. And that's why, if you get this on the Criterion Collection, it is both a Blu-ray and a 3D Blu-ray. So this is basically like a 2-disc edition for this. Now, I had never done this at an opening, so you're going to see me doing this, because I think I got this. There we go. Kind of difficult doing this right in front of the camera, but okay. And even comes with a sticker when you do it. So, obviously I'm looking at it. Obviously this is just now finally fresh off of its package. So when I'm coming to opening this, okay then, so I see the 2 discs that are in this. This one, I believe, yeah, that's the 3D Blu-ray. So basically this one, that's the regular Blu-ray on top. So, you You got to be very careful when you're unboxing these Blu-rays. And this is the booklet I see right here. So, as you can see, it does, looks like, oh, there's like a forward message here for Pina. And it actually, of course, does the credits, and it's kind of like the 12 Angry Men Blu-ray. Oh, and it does actually reveal, is this just, yeah, all the performers that are in this film. And like I was kind of blown away by this. Like, it's very interesting. It said it came with a 3D Blu-ray, but I'm kind of surprised it did not came with 3D glasses. I thought, like, that's interesting. Like, a movie like this that is a 3D Blu-ray, you would think Criterion would actually purchase 3D glasses, but looks like based on the results, you can't get them on. You have to get them on your own. But I am very happy I got to see this film. And like I said, this might be a little bit shorter because some of these are kind of freshly new in my mind, and I have already got used to it. But interesting surprise that we did get the 2 discs, but you have to get 3D glasses on your own if you're wanting to check out the Blu-ray of the 3D of this film. Alright, next up, speaking of the Grand Budapest Hotel, I did purchase another Wes Anderson movie. And I kind of mentioned this in the last video, and after seeing this, I did actually pretty much enjoy this movie. Not as, like, his best one, even though this movie was released before Grand Budapest, but it was definitely another great movie I did watch, and that is Moonrise Kingdom, spy number 776 from 2012. So, we got another Wes Anderson movie here, and this is basically about these 2 different young pen pals. Like, one is a khaki scout, one is like lives in a rich family, and they kind of make a secret, like, to fall in love or something like that, and a big, like, search for these 2, because there is a little bit of a grudge between with some of the people's having scouts and rich people. I don't really remember this, but it's more about those 2 main kids, and this movie was nominated for Best Original Screenplay for Anderson and Roman Coppola, and they lost to Quentin Tarantino for Django Unchained. So, and as this being, of course, a Wes Anderson Blu-ray, how is this going to topple for Grand Budapest? And yep, I knew this was something going to be familiar. Kind of like the Grand Budapest Blu-ray. It does have this, at least the tack is more, like, at least the glued tack is better sticking than the one I got in Grand Budapest Hotel. So, okay, so it's already kind of a little bit similar. So, and looking at this, we do got the main 2 pen pals, and then we got the rest of the cast in this. So, already off to an interesting start. So I got the, oh wait, you can't see it. There is the Blu-ray itself, raccoon in front, and it looks like right over here, it actually, oh boy, this is going to be interesting, because I know not to oh, okay, yep, it's kind of like a, oh, this is a postcard! Okay, nice. Okay, you got a postcard here. Okay, that's already an interesting start. Oh man, and this is another poster, but I believe this is like, yeah, the map. Yeah, the map that was used in the film. Is it both? Like, you got, like, if you have seen the movie, you're not going to get it, but, okay, so you get you got the, so the first thing I got was the Criterion, for the Grand Budapest Hotel, it was a poster of the box artwork, but now for this one, I can't hold this back up right, the map of the film. And then the booklet, India Corn, September 1965, 25 cents for khaki scouts everywhere. And, alright, what is Summer Pageant, 19... Oh, this is basically like I think like a ticket or something like that. I don't know how that was in there. Um, it is kind of a booklet, and once again, it does show like the cast and the crew's names. A little bit. I think this is a bit shorter than what it was in Grand Budapest, but they. Yep, and there is a lot of more concept art. So it's a little bit of a shorter booklet than the one that was in the Grand Budapest Hotel, but a very unique element to actually have this in my collection. Like, this is my second Wes Anderson film I have bought in the collection. I said I am not planning on getting Fantastic Mr. Fox because that was, like, I think out of the four, my least favorite Wes Anderson film, because I said his animated ones are the weakest ones. But I'm very curious if I get the time to watch, like, some of his other films. Like, I know The Royal Tenenbaums, which was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. But, I'm going to be very curious to go inside of this Blu-ray to see what's behind the scenes. It does have a lot of them. Audio commentary. Oh, geez, you get Bill Murray, Edward Norton, and Jason Schwartzman in this commentary? That's going to be interesting. But definitely another great Wes Anderson movie, and another one to add to my collection. And it's pretty awesome. I just can't believe how good the cover is. And finally, for this one, I went big here. And it's not the Godzilla set, I will say that, but it is a special mini Blu-ray set. And I am, of course, talking about a little mini box set of a trilogy. Now, I think there are only two notable trilogies I know that have a box set. And this one, I think this one was pretty easy. And it was, of course, because of the third one's Oscar nomination of this past decade. And after watching all three of these, I have decided to get it. And that is, of course, Spy number 856 from Richard Linklater, the Before Trilogy. Yes, I have decided to purchase the Before Trilogy, which of course includes the 1995 classic Before Sunrise, Spy number 857, Before Sunset from 2004, Spy number 858, and 2013's Before Midnight, Spy number 859. And of course, the Before Trilogy was a pretty unique one at the Oscars, because obviously Before Sunset and Before Midnight were both nominated for Adapted Screenplay. But it's very interesting that Before Sunset... Before Sunrise. Yeah, Before Sunrise was not nominated for Best Original Screenplay, which... That's odd, because that was the year we had, like, The Usual Suspects, there was Braveheart, Toy Story, which made history at the Oscars for its writing, and much more, a little bit smoother here, but, so going a little bit very carefully, oh boy, this is going to be tough, because you got three Blu-rays that are in this big box set, you got to be very careful of doing this. I can do it the best that I can. Okay, so I got the first one here. So this is Before Sunrise. So when I first saw this movie, if I was going to plan to get on the Before Trilogy, I was blown away by Before Sunrise. I think it's one of the best romance movies I have seen in such a while for my field when it comes to movies, and this is such a classic. Like, this is my favorite Richard Linklater movie, because I think Boyhood's overrated, and I'll give my thoughts on the sequels here in a second. And it looks like this is the booklet for the film, and inside you did got like a little poster, and there is the case itself. But going into this film, it's actually the booklet for all three of the movies, so yeah, because it does have, like, Before Sunset, and then it goes, like, Before Sunrise, and then Before Midnight. So, yeah. It's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. I don't know why. Sunset and Sunrise, I keep getting confused with that. But, very interesting film to actually add this to my collection. Like, everything about Before Sunrise really worked. I liked how a lot of it was one takes. Like, it was, like, some of the best one takes I have seen. Like next to, like, 12 Angry Men. Like, like, not like a fully one-take movie like Roma or 1917 or Gravity or Birdman or The Revenant, or I'm talking about like scenes that are pretty long, like 12 Angry Men or Fences to be precise. And they're almost like in one setting, even though Before Sunrise and Before Sunset do a lot of walking, but it really has that great moment, and I just really was amazing at this. Joey Delpy and Ethan Hawke as, who are the characters again? Jesse and Celine are one of the best fictional couples I've seen in cinema. I'm just kind of blown away by it, and it's very interesting to go with it, so my favorite of the trilogy, because I think the sequels are good, but I wouldn't say they're not as strong compared to the first one. Then you got Before Sunset from 2004. Not really much. It's kind of the same thing. It's a little bit more smaller because the booklet's in the Before Sunrise one. And then finally, Before Midnight. I like the blueness of this. And oh my gosh, like, you can't believe it. You have to deal with like 3 of these movies, like, all together. Like, this is big. Like, you get a booklet for Before Sunset, you get 3 Blu-rays, and of course you get this box. So basically, yeah, I have now 5 Blu-rays that for this videos, because if you do count the whole trilogy in one thing. And they now add to my Blu-ray collection, and kind of also the continuation of the Criterion Collection. I think I have this the wrong way, so yeah, go Sunrise first, then Sunset, and then Midnight. So, with that being said, I do thank you guys for watching this. Oh. If you do like this video, you can hit that subscribe button. And if you have seen any of these 5 movies, since we're having a trilogy here, let me know if you have seen any of these. And what will be the next ones from Criterion I might get. Or it could be more Blu-rays that are not from Criterion.